right, here's a fun one. If you took 7 to the 122nd power, what would the ones digit of that expansion be? Now pause the video, see if you can figure it out, and then hit play when you're ready for the solution. All right, be honest, you probably tried to plug this into your calculator, and unless you're using some online calculator that can do this, which I'm sure there is some, you're not gonna be able to do this in your TI-84, you're not gonna be able to do this in your pocket calculator, and you're not gonna be able to do this on your phone. So what gives? Well, since I asked you this question, you probably figured there's a pattern, and there is. Let me show you how it works. If I took 7 to the first power, that would of course be 7. If I took 7 to the second power, what would that be? That's 7 times 7, that's 49. If I took 7 to the third power, well, that's one more 7 multiplied on, and that's 343. Maybe you have to use a calculator for that one. And if I have 7 to the fourth power, well, multiply that by 7, you get 2,401. So you're thinking, so what? Well, the next time you multiply by 7, what's gonna happen? Well, that ones digit of 1 is gonna get multiplied by 7. And if you picture doing the long multiplication here, that means that 7 to the fifth power is gonna have a whole bunch of numbers, and then it's gonna end in a 7. Okay, well, what about 7 to the sixth power? Well, again, when I do the long multiplication, I'm gonna multiply everything by 7. That ones digit's gonna get multiplied by 7, which means that I'm gonna get blah, 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 and then it's gonna end in a 9, because 7 times 7 is 49. And when I multiply by 7 again, I'm gonna get 7 to the seventh power. I'm gonna multiply that 9 by 7, and I think you see where this is going. That 9's gonna get multiplied by 7, giving me a 63, so this is gonna have a whole lot of digits, and then it's gonna end in a 3. And then 7 to the eighth power, well, it's gonna be a whole lot of digits, and then it's gonna end in a 1, because it's gonna continue that pattern. So take a look at what's happening. Every fourth power of 7 will end in a 1. So 7 to the fourth ends in a 1. 7 to the eighth ends in a 1. 7 to the 12th would end in a 1. 7 to the 40th, that's a multiple of 4, that's gonna end in a 1. So a good strategy to solve this problem is then say, well, what's a multiple of 4 that's close enough to 122 that I can kind of count the rest of the way there? Utilizing this pattern, I could say like, well, 7 to the 40th, that's going to be something, something, something ending in a 1. 7 to the 80th, that's another multiple of 4. That's going to be something, something, something ending in a 1. 7 to the 120th, well, that's going to be something, 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 a lot of somethings, and then it's going to end in a 1 eventually. Well, 7 to the 122nd then is 2 more powers of 7 multiplied onto that. 7 to the 120th is going to end in a 1. 7 to the 121st, that's going to end in a 7, back to the top of the cycle. 7 to the 122nd, that's going to end in a 9. So without doing the actual multiplication, I know the pattern is it repeats every 4. So 7 to the 122nd is going to be just like 7 to the second in that it ends with a 9. Now, if you like solving challenging math problems, make sure you pound that like or subscribe button so that you can be notified when we post more good content next week. That's this week's Think Fast. We will see you next week.